But how did he get you to the point to where, I mean, he had you.
Yes.
Because you were.
You were. I had to think about it. Like, you're absolutely right.
No, because I've seen the different level. I've seen your process. I've seen the total control.
Yeah.
To like a light switch went off.
I was like, thank you, God.
So the total control piece, because there are women who are, I didn't even know how in-depth sex trafficking was, and how simple it is to lure women away from or take women away from their environments. And as I'm hearing all the women in our fans talk about it, I'm starting to tune more into women issues.
Right.
When do you realize the first level of control was there, that that it couldn't be penetrated? Like, what was the first sign?
Well, the first sign, honestly, I feel like I actually didn't really go through a lot of necessarily who he was until I turned 18. That is pretty much, I mean, when I first initially met him, all of my calls were very much monitored, even with my family. Like, it was 5 minutes and under. He had to be in the room. That was just for anybody. Mm-hmm. And and then when I turned 18, it was just, you can't call him at all. And I was just like, that's very odd, but okay, because at that point, I was comfortable, I was living with someone, so I was just like, okay, I didn't necessarily know where the disconnect was coming from or why someone whom felt like they hadn't been doing anything wrong would even feel like they needed to say that. So for me, it was just a lot of, okay, you've been treating people like very, very terribly, and clearly this is your way of trying to control the little bit of, this narrative that you do have. So for me, that's probably was like the first red flag. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then
but then you felt like you were too deep in, or did you feel still manipulated to stay?
I did feel a little bit of both, because I couldn't understand where that was necessarily coming from, or why I didn't necessarily or couldn't have a relationship with my parents or just call them normally. So for me, it was a little bit odd, but it wasn't like it just kind of seemed like something that he just made seem very simple. Like, mm-hmm. Next time you call your parents, I just want to be present. He just made it seem like something very simple. And then it became, okay, you actually cannot call them unless I'm here, And it was, I hate to say it, but it was an environment where you saw other women that were older than me that were allowing a lot of stuff. And so
to happen.
Yes.
But what about those people? Because Kay Michelle was here on the show, and she said that when this was all going down, and she didn't say with you, but she said in general, like, this has been a long-standing practice or whatever, mm-hmm. or that's what she alluded to. She said that there were a lot of moms in the kitchen cooking dinner. In some situations, this wasn't clearly yours.
Yeah.
Do you feel like there's other people that should be in jail, like assistants or security or drivers or people who are booking hotels or travel? I mean, these people were around.
I mean, honestly, I don't necessarily think, I cannot speak for anybody else. At the end of the day, I went through something toxic with one person. One person is the only person that put their hands on me. One person is the only person that did not allow me to speak with my family, and so forth. So I cannot sit up here and say, oh, I want to blame this person, I want to blame that person, because then even I wouldn't be growing as a young woman if I was sitting with all that baggage and holding on to all of that. So no, I feel like the only person that, took advantage of people, and even his staff, fired them, treated them terribly, talked about them terribly, that person is exactly where he's at, sitting exactly where they are in their skin, and that is the only person that I feel that should be held accountable.
So where does this level of maturity come from? Because now I'm looking at you, and you sitting here looking and sounding great, happy, smiling, laughing. Where was then what was your process to get through all that to where you are now?
Honestly, music and therapy. A lot of people don't know. When I left that situation in 2019, I went immediately into therapy.
But this is before you beat up Jocelyn or after?
Before.
Because the way you drug her through that hallway, that...
Stop. We're not even here to talk about that.
Okay.
No. Honestly...
Did you guys make up?
No, no. No, we didn't make up, but honestly, for me, it was a lot of therapy, Jason. It was a lot of therapy, honestly. Music was something that really, really helped me with that also, because 2020, 2019, you couldn't even pay me to hum. I wouldn't even hum around people. And then, 2020 came and I was humming and I was singing, I was recording. Then 2021 came and then I was really recording. I found my team and I was just like, okay, yeah, we're getting this show on the road. We're releasing stuff. We got dates locked in. And so for me, it was really just a lot of therapy and music and keeping myself grounded and remembering who I am and, where I come from and, just remembering and like relearning myself as a grown woman. And even as I sit here today, I'm still relearning myself, So I just think that it was something that was so comfortable and so familiar that helped me break through and get to where I am now.
So what was the breakthrough? Like, what was when you were in the midst of the demon and there was a light, there was some switch that had to go off? What was the switch?
Honestly, for me, it was just a lot of taking accountability and just a lot of forgiving myself. Like, it was so crucial that I forgave myself and that, I told my younger self, like, it is okay to make mistakes. Like, you are not the first and you will not be the last person on this earth to make, a mistake or to make something that ultimately may not have turned out the way you would have thought it would have. And for me, it was just really about growing as an adult, because as much as I can sit here and say, I was a child, I'm not a child now. And so for me, it's all about just forgiving myself and knowing that I can do whatever it is that I put my mind to. And, sitting here is living proof that I can do that. So.
Well, sitting here is living proof that you have great media training, by the way. I don't know who trained you, but you're good.